Hi, this is Keisha Berkner with Urban Fitness Twin Cities, and today Addie and I are here to show you a great exercise for your low glutes as well as your hamstrings. So we tend to work our upper glutes a lot and ignore our low glutes where they meet our hamstrings a little bit more. So this is a really good one for accessing those smaller muscles and getting your hamstring to work with your glute. So they're bridges, but we're gonna do them with a little bit of a twist. So Addie, I'm gonna have you lie on your back. Feet are gonna go up on the chair. You can do this with your feet also pressed against a wall, or you can do it, I'm gonna have you put your heels on the back of the chair. Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm gonna add a little bit of inner thigh work by just placing a ball in between her knees. This is also great if you don't have someone watching you to make sure that your knees aren't going in and out of their own accord. Okay, so one thing I suggest, whether your feet are on a chair or wall, if you're on a wall, you're gonna have your feet nice and flexed because you're gonna be pushing into that wall. So if you can, flex those feet, yes. Good. And what you want when you set this up is you want a 90-degree angle in your knee joint and in your hip joint. So you wanna, she's really well placed, but you wanna scoot yourself either closer or further away to make sure that your knees are right over your hips and that your shins are parallel to the ceiling to start. They're not gonna stay that way, but that's always where you wanna start. Then you wanna feel, especially if you're using a chair or even a stability ball, you wanna think about pushing your ankles and your heels in to the chair or the ball a little bit so you really start to feel those hamstrings working even before you start to go up. Shoulders stay away from your ears so there's no tension in your neck. And make sure that when you're lying on your back, your rib cage isn't splayed up into the air. You want to keep those ribs nice and relaxed so your upper abs are slightly engaged. You don't have to necessarily push your low back into the floor to start, but you don't want to let your ribs go. So then you're going to roll up slowly, starting by tilting your pelvis. Yep, one vertebra at a time you're going to roll up. And you might not roll up as high as you do in a normal bridge because it's actually a little bit harder. Good, and then you're going to roll back down. So don't feel like you have to go all the way up to your bridge position. Just a little bit of that hip lift is perfect. Yes. And you want both hips to go up nice and even. You want to make sure you're not tilting one way or the other. If you have someone to spot you, that's the best way to know if you're tilting. Good. And I would say anywhere from 3 to 8 to 10 of these to start. And then if they get a little bit easier, you can add, go ahead and roll up one more time, a little pulse at the top, so you're gonna pulse your hips just up, yep. And if you've got the ball in between your knees, you can even keep your hips still and do little pulses into the ball with your knees for a little added inner thigh. Good, and roll down. The important part is that you make sure that you keep those feet pressing down a little bit or into the wall if you're pushing into the wall, so that you really do feel those hamstrings and those low glutes and you don't start gripping in your quads or your hip flexors. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Good, those were really good. So give them a try. If you have questions or comments, feel free to contact us. Thanks so much.